my name is Grace Nzula, and I am your host. This is Get It Right with the Tara Solutions, where we try to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. I am so excited that we are on season 3. This is the 25th episode of season 3. Yes, 25th. So if you're here for the first time, you have missed out 23 of season 3, 34 of season 2, and 26 of season 1. So when you hear those numbers starting to get like that, just know in about around September there, we're going to go on a break, because I mean, every Tuesday since January, we have been doing this, and it's been fun, and we enjoy it, and we love it. And we don't do it by ourselves. We have been fortunate enough to have a few partners who have really been very of great support to us in enabling us bring these sessions to you, because I mean, you guys know, even the cost of Zoom has a shot like no man's business. And we are the people with the Zoom of 1,000 people. So you can imagine how much we are paying right now. But God has been kind to us. There are some partners who've decided, you know what, we are going to walk this journey with you, because there's only so much you can do by yourself. So for that reason, allow me to indulge you for about 5 or so minutes. I don't know why my phone, my laptop is just not going to pick it. I don't know why I can't share screen. Okay. I think I figured it out. I need to stop this audio. Okay, there we go. All right, so can you see my, yeah, there we go. Can you see my screen, Kevin? You cannot see my screen. I can't hear you.
It's on.
Okay, sawa. All right, Poledi. So yes, our partners for season 3, we have Balcon Housing. Balcon Housing is a real estate and property management company. They are here in Nairobi, and they sell land in anywhere in this country. And if you have a piece of land, or you have you have a building that you're looking for people to manage it, then Balcon Housing are your people. We have Stallion Construction Company. If you're looking to renovate your office, or you're just moving into a new office and you're looking to do partitions, or it's a home that you look to do repairs, or just build a fresh home, Stallion Construction Company is a construction firm that will be able to sort you out, and I can promise you they're quite affordable, and they give you quality work. And then we have Pathway Solutions. Quite a number of you have been able to get free training. I saw some beautiful certificates today, and I'll be able to share some of those. Kevin, I'll share yours. For the people who have been, sponsored, they've gotten full sponsored training by Pathway Solutions by just tuning in to Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. Can you imagine that? So, and I'm sure today you stand a chance to also win. For those of you, it's normally first come, first served. So as soon as you hear me announce, which will be towards the end of this session, please make sure you pen and paper to send an email to me. And then we have Institute of Pension Management. Institute of Pension Management, like the name spells it, is an institute that runs pension matters, and also they have a college that runs CHRP. So if you're on this call and you're looking to do your CHRP, and that is certified human resource practitioner, then IPM are there for you. They are located in on Ojijo Road. I'll be sharing with you details as we go along. But Institute of Pension Management, if you're a person working under pension scheme, or just deal with pension matters, then you're looking to hone your skills, then they have a certification for pension management. They also offer pension awards. And then, of course, for the HR professionals here who are looking to do their CHRP, then the Institute of Pension Management will be your first choice. And then we have College of Career Guidance and Development. College of Career Guidance and Development are offering a diploma in career guidance. Can you believe that? We, in partnership, have a training coming up on Thursday, and I'll be sharing with you the details. Please send us your children, because most of us are in careers that we never chose. And we know that the people we have in the society right now, our children, our brothers, our sisters, our nieces, our nephews, we need them to make better choices. We need them to make informed choices. And we're going to help them on Thursday. And part of what we'll be covering is helping them understand themselves to be able to choose a career that works for them. So please send us your children. We are charging 2,000 shillings, and we'll be sharing those details shortly. And then we have Fina Gardens. Fina Gardens is located on Moi South Lake in Naivasha. If you're there for a conference, or if you're there to have fun, or unasikia kupeleka mzee happy birthday, or okay, for the Ugandans here, that's what I meant is if you want to take your buyer into somewhere, an exploration, or just to kick things off, you know, Fina Gardens Resort will be your best choice. Their fish is out of this world. They have a swimming pool. It's just beautiful. And then we have Panessa Training Institute. Panessa Training Institute is a carpentry school. They currently are running an intake every Monday. Yes, every Monday there's an intake for carpentry and woodworking. So if you're on this call and wish to just register, please get in touch with us and we'll be able to take you through. Then we have WeClean. WeClean is a carpet cleaning company. They clean your carpet within 6 minutes. So they pick your carpet today and they can deliver to tomorrow. And their carpets are, I mean, they do 24-hour delivery and it's free around Nairobi. Kevin, tunakujia carpet yako kesho, including Steve. And then Kapula Mintito. Kapula Mintito deal in Mabuyu, cashew nuts, honey, CMOS gel, among others. They are located online. You can check them out, but they are mostly based in Mombasa. Then we have the Career Management Center. It's a HR firm. They have a wonderful, wonderful program for moms who are looking to bounce back into the job market. And then we have Ames College of Business and Technology. For those of you who are looking to take on any studies, then Ames College of Business and Technology will be your choice as well. So allow me not to take a lot more of your time. I thank you for engaging me, but it's only important that we let you know who are our partners. So yes, this is Get It Right with Atara Solutions, brought to you by Atara Solutions in partnership with Balcon Housing and Stallion Construction Company. Atara Solutions, we are a one-stop shop for training. So if you're looking to do any training in your organizations, please get in touch with us and we will be able to organize that for you. And of course, it's the team building session and we are all season and we are there as well. So without further ado, Stephen Olieka.
Yes.
Let me remove myself from the spotlight.
You're not doing any introduction.
I am, of course.
Okay.
Just now. All right. So yes, with us this evening is Mr. Steve Olieka. Mr. Steve Olieka, I knew him when he was a consultant. Then he tells me he's currently the head of HR and support services at AAR. Steve and performance management ni hapa. They're like this. If you think performance, you know the way you think webinars and you think Grace. If you think performance management, then think Steve. But I normally get a lot of questions, Steve. A lot of people don't actually understand the concept of performance management.
Yes.
And they also don't exactly understand the science around it. And
Yes.
most people, when they hear performance management, they think it's appraisals.
Yes.
So please, tonight, help us demystify what exactly, why should we go for Balance Scorecard? And exactly what are these things that we're doing wrong when it actually comes to performance management?
Yes, I'll try to actually first demystify the Balance Scorecard. That is the main goal of today. But during the Q&A, I hope people can ask me questions around performance management and tying it with the Balance Scorecard. Because we don't have much time, so I'll focus on the Balance Scorecard, and hopefully towards the end, they can ask those questions and I should be able to clarify.
Excellent. So you wanted to share screen?
Yes, I want to share my presentation.
Yes, please.
Just a moment.
Yeah, and Richard was talking about my cup. Yes, this is a cup for Get It Right with Atara Solutions. I'm doing this as Steve looks for his presentation. It was gifted to me by Alphas. I mean, A+, gosh, A+. Washira will kill me, but yeah.
Okay, so I'm ready.
So go ahead, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. As you've been told, my name is Stephen Olieka. Today, I just want to focus on the Balance Scorecard, why the Balance Scorecard, and some of the critical things about the Balance Scorecard that you need to understand so that when you bring it into performance management, you know how powerful the tool is, and you can then use it comfortably, and also understand the intricacies of the things you need to focus on so that you make it effective for your organization. So in a nutshell, I will introduce the Balance Scorecard. Talk about what went behind developing the Balance Scorecard, why it is built the way it is built or designed. Then I'll briefly talk about the perspectives, and then drilling to each perspective and the question that we ask on each perspective so that we get to do the right things when you are using the Balance Scorecard to plan for performance, whether you are planning it at the corporate level or you are doing it at the individual level. So the Balance Scorecard perspectives. Then I'll talk about 2 sets of indicators and highlight why you need to focus a little more on one of them, which is the leading indicators. Because many people tend to just identify indicators without understanding why they are choosing those indicators and how those indicators will help them then to achieve their strategic goals. So we will compare lagging versus leading indicators and then explain why the leading indicators are of more value to you than the lagging indicators. Then I'll summarize by talking about strategy maps and explain something called the cause and effect of the strategy map, because we don't just put those things into the map, we put something at the lower level and we clearly can show how that measure at the lower level then affects measures at another level. And that is called the cause and effect of the strategy map. And of course, towards the end, we will ask some questions. So let me start by introducing myself. I'm the head of HR and support services at AR Hospital, that lovely building that you can see there. But before that, I've worked in a number of areas. I've worked twice in aviation, with civil aviation and Kenya Airways. I've also worked twice in telecommunications with Telecom Kenya and with Safaricom. I've also worked twice in manufacturing. So I've worked with the Mumias Sugar, and I've also worked with Safal Group, which is the parent company for Mabati Rolling Mills. That was a regional role where I was supervising HR managers in Ethiopia, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Kenya. And one of my key responsibilities during that time was to actually coach and train managers and business leaders on how best to do performance management. And that is where I built some of the information and the skills that I'm going to share with you today. But also for about 2.5 years, up to December last year, I was doing consulting work. And part of my consulting work was to help organizations, again, establish performance management systems, processes, and procedures. And that I did until December when this new role came up, where I'm now the head of HR and support services at AR Hospital. In my private life, I'm very passionate about the environment, mentoring, which is something that is really catching up in this country. I've been involved in a number of initiatives around mentoring with the Rise and Learn, where we trained like 80 managers in mentorship, and also set up what we call peer mentoring among those managers. Then after that, we moved to mentoring for graduate students at USIU. And then after that, now we have a new program called In My Steps, where we offer fresh graduates an opportunity for internship as well as mentoring. And then I love training in general. So that is what I do. AR Hospital is a new hospital on Kiambu Road. And we do all these things that I'm showing you, whether you have a medical emergency, renal, dialysis, gynecology, critical care services, medical and surgical, specialized clinics, maternity, well baby clinics, theater services, we do operations and all that. If you are a senior person in an organization, you can come for executive checkup, diagnostics and imaging services, and also pharmacy. So in a nutshell, this is what we do. And I just felt I should share this with you because if my boss knows that I'm doing this, they will want to know whether I talked about this. Nowadays, you are in HR, but you are also selling. So please feel free to visit us, come and partake of our services, and hopefully we'll be able to serve you and help you resolve one of your medical issues. So let me ask, for those of us who are here, I believe that this is not the first time you are hearing about the Balance Scorecard. This is not the first time you are hearing about the Balance Scorecard. So my question is, what is it? And I would like to hear from you. Maybe you can put it in the chat. If you can talk, you can also unmute and just try and share with the rest of us what you think is a Balance Scorecard. Anyone? Yeah.
Oh, there's someone already saying from Martin Wanjohi.
Yes.
Which version of Balance Scorecard are we talking about? Beatrice Omolo is saying it's not the first time.
Yeah.
But
Martin Wanjohi is saying it's a value creation tool. Yes. Brenda is saying it's a performance management tool. Thank you. A tool used to measure performance. Thank you. Caroline says new to me. And then Charity says something to do with strategies. And I think all of you are right. It's a tool used to track and monitor performance, to maximize productivity. Thank you very much. That is Christine. And then, okay, so most of you seem to have an idea. Someone says it has 4 perspectives and so on and so forth. It's used for appraising and so on and so forth. Okay, now that means that people have an idea of what the Balance Scorecard is. But let me just make it easier so that we can move forward. It is a strategic planning tool. It's a strategic planning and management tool. But when we are using it, we want to achieve at least 3 things. 1, alignment. That we want to align whatever we are doing on a day-to-day basis continuously with the vision and strategy of the organization. And on a later slide, I will show you how that alignment then comes in and how actually it is achieved. But number 1, it is used to align business activities, the things that you engage in on a day-to-day basis, with the vision and strategy of the organization. Number 2, it's a very powerful tool for internal and external communications. The word scorecard actually means maybe one slide or one page on which you display your measures, just like the speedometer of a car, and you indicate whether you are achieving or you are not achieving those measures. And when you do that, when you have summarized that information like that, you can share it with your employees inside the organization, or you can share it with, say, your investors, the shareholders outside the organization. So you use it as a means of communicating with internal and external stakeholders. So that is the second thing. And the third one is just the basic idea of monitoring. You use it to monitor organizational performance. And when you are doing it, you are measuring against what you have planned to achieve over a period of time. It may be over a year. It may be over a longer period of time, like 3, 4 years, and 5 years. For example, for us, a hospital, we may say that we want to plan to come up with a cancer center. You know, today, Kenyatta University was launching a cancer center. Now, the realization of that center did not start yesterday. They must have had a plan for 3 or 4 or 5 years. So that was a strategic goal. Now, that goal can be put in the balance scorecard and then made to use the balance scorecard to plan every year on implementing a cancer center. To do that, then, you look at what needs to be done. For example, a cancer center means you may need a building. We have a building. Number 2, we need equipment, the cancer treatment equipment. Do we have that equipment? Number 3, we need staff, doctors, nurses, and so on, who will be operating that equipment. So over a 3-year period or a 4-year period, you have that strategic plan to establish a cancer center. And then every year you put in your plan something that you'll be doing towards achieving that goal. For example, year 1, we'll build the structure. Year 2, we will acquire the equipment. And year 3, we will hire the staff, and then we start operations. Now, you will measure year 1, have we built the house or the building? Year 2, have we bought the equipment? And then year 3, have we hired staff and started operations? Those are your strategic goals. And for you to do that, you will plan these using the balance scorecard. So how is it designed? And how is that design of the balance scorecard unique? Now, its design concerns itself with the identification of a small number of measures. Now, these measures are financial as well as non-financial. And then these measures are organized into areas called perspectives. First of all, I want you to note financial and non-financial measures. Why is that important? It is important because in many organizations, historically, what seemed to be reported on a regular basis was only financial information. And therefore, the guys who came up with the balance scorecard felt that there was a gap and that financial information was not sufficient in helping organizations plan for the future, predict the future, be able to say, or in a way determine how sure they were that next year and the next year and the next year, they were going to perform better or not. And therefore, they came up with this scorecard with measures that are also non-financial, and which they felt were even more important than the financial ones. So the balance scorecard, therefore, concerns itself with a small number of measures which are both financial and non-financial. Those measures are grouped together in areas called perspectives, and we'll come to them in a short while. Once you have identified the measures, the areas of focus, then you set targets for those measures. So you can't talk about the balance scorecard, and yet you have not talked about the measures and the targets for the measures. And on a regular basis, you then check. This was my target. My target was to build a cancer center. And then you check your progress towards achieving that particular target. So you measure them on a regular basis to determine success or failure. That is what the balance scorecard helps you. And therefore, you start seeing clearly now why the balance scorecard is important for performance management. Because what is performance management? It's a continuous process of identifying, measuring, and developing the performance of individuals and teams, and also aligning that performance with the strategic goals. So if you look at that definition of performance management, you can see clearly that the Balance Scorecard is a very powerful tool then to use, to measure, to develop, and to identify key areas of performance. That is why it is a very important tool in performance management. Now, the reason why actually it is very important is that it helps you translate the vision and strategy of the organization into tangible objectives and measures. And those tangible objectives and measures are organized under the 4 perspectives: financial, customer, internal processes, learning, and growth. Sometimes in some organizations, they just say people. In other organizations, they say capability, but they basically mean the same thing. Now, it does not mean that in your organization, you only need to focus on the 4. Some organizations add other perspectives depending on what they think is valuable. So it's not necessarily that all organizations must have 4 perspectives. In the US, some organizations have more than 4 perspectives. Here in Kenya, what I've seen mostly is these 4: financial, customer, internal, and growth. And the way they are arranged on the Balance Scorecard has something to do with the relationships that exist between these things. And I would like to give you an example that how you perfect your processes, will have an impact on how you serve your customer. And then you start seeing the relationship, the cause and effect between these perspectives. How you do something, you perform internally, has something to do with how you will serve your customer and the customer satisfaction derived from there. Now, if your customers are happy, then they will buy more. They will come back and buy more from you, whatever service or product that you are producing. And therefore, the customer satisfaction will translate into a financial result. So therefore, the Balance Scorecard builds from the basics down there, learning and growth, into internal business processes, into customer satisfaction, and then financial results. And therefore, there's a ripple effect starting from the bottom, which is capabilities, then processes, then how you treat your customer, so the interactions you have with your customer, and finally, the ultimate result, which is financial results. You can see by, again, looking at it that way, that the Balance Scorecard then kind of gives you a complete cover of the organization. It doesn't leave anything behind. It helps you look at all the key aspects of how an organization operates, the key ingredients into productivity. And then you are able to come up with the right actions, the right plans to address each of those areas so that ultimately you have the financial results that you are looking for. That is why the Balance Scorecard is very powerful, because it addresses all these aspects, which are called the perspectives. Now, if you look at that diagram, again, you see something that is critical or useful with the Balance Scorecard. At the center, all of your actions and activities is the vision and strategy of the organization. And it helps you ask some pertinent questions about what you should do so that you are able to achieve your vision and strategy. And I'll start with the financial. So the question that we ask here when we are doing planning is if we succeed, how will we look to our shareholders? And of course, all of us know what our shareholders are looking for. They're looking for good financial results. They're looking for profit. They are looking for growing revenues. They are looking for good margins. They are looking for good capital utilization. So you have buildings, you have machines. Are you utilizing those machines to the best of your capability? So if we succeed, how will we look to our shareholders? And therefore, under these, you will define measures. Those measures will be things like revenue, profit, sales margins, asset utilization, EBITDA, and so on. And then you will attach targets to those measures. So for example, profit could be, we achieve a profit of 50 billion or 50 million or 5 million. Or we achieve revenues of 20 billion. That is how we will look to our shareholders. So you define that as the ultimate actually achievement of the organization. Number two, to achieve our vision, how should we look to our customers, employees, and the community? Now, this is the customer perspective. Again, you must answer that question as you're planning, both strategically and on a short term. How should you look to your customers? So what is the customer's expectation of you as an organization? And so we are talking about customer satisfaction. We are talking about the customer relationship. We are talking about your employees and the engagement, yeah, and the measures that you have around, like the Net Promoter Score, NPS, and so on, around customers. But also, there is the issue of your brand and how that brand is viewed in the market. So the community, how does the community look at you? Do they look at you as someone who is responsive to the needs of the community, and so on? That must be answered as you are planning using the Balance Scorecard. The third question that you will ask is something to do with your internal processes. To satisfy our customers, which business processes must we excel at? What are the things that we must focus on, do very well, so that our customers are happy and also we achieve our financial results and our financial targets? And so it forces you to look internally, look at how you do things internally, and then start identifying areas of improvement in reality. And I'll come back to this later, that you look internally and identify areas of improving or how to master your game, so that you can satisfy your customers and also achieve your financial results. Now, this reminds me something about the blue ocean strategy, which is not about you going out here and copying what your competitors are doing, but you look for value inside your organization. You try and find ways of outdoing your opponents by looking inwardly and improving yourself inwardly. The last question that you ask is, to achieve our vision, how must our organization learn and improve? And this has something to do with capabilities, the skills and knowledge your employees must have so that they can serve your customers well. They can do the job properly. Number two, this has something to do with technology. What are the technologies, systems that you need to implement so that you can serve? And you can see now the issue of technology, how then it ties in with your processes. And therefore, if you use technology, to make sure your processes are fast and efficient, you can see then that how that affects your customers. They will get quick service. They will get a responsive service from you and your people. And the end result is that they will come back for more business and so on. And therefore, you can see from these questions that the Balance Scorecard helps you to look inwardly and try and see areas that you can improve yourself so that you provide the right service, and then that service results in very good or good financial results or outcomes. And therefore, there's a ripple effect upwards, which is what I call the cause and effect. You work on the people skills and you work on the processes, you improve the customer satisfaction, and they come back for repeat business and so on. And then that results in very good financial results. Lastly, the issue of organization learning and improving has also something to do with climate. What is the right climate you need to create in your organization? And this alludes to good leadership, because leaders are the ones who create the climate. So that climate then results in motivation and people feeling that they belong, and then working to make sure that the organization succeeds. Again, you see a people aspect that in the old way of doing things may never have been considered when you are doing planning for the organization. So that is addressing something like engagement surveys, because they tell you about the climate in the organization and how that climate then affects the way you serve the customers. Remember, the CEO of Virgin said, take care of the people. If you take care of the people, then they will take care of the customers. And here again, the Balance Scorecard is telling us the same thing. Okay? Now, as you answer these questions, what do you see? That under each of those perspectives, you will then identify objectives. And then with those objectives, you will identify the measures for those objectives. And you will set the targets for those objectives. And then you will come up with the action plans for achieving those objectives. And those action plans are what we call the initiatives. And then you can see, therefore, that the Balance Scorecard is helping you to go through a very nice process of building your plan. As you answer these questions, you come up with objectives, and then measures for those objectives, and then you set targets for those objectives, and then you come up with action plans for those objectives, for achieving those objectives. And that is basically what the Balance Scorecard does for us. Therefore, that summarizes what will come out of that process of asking those questions, and you put it in a tabular form under each perspective, whether it is financial, customer, processes, or people, and you have several objectives that you come up with, but remember, not too many of them. And then you identify the measures for each of the objectives, you set the targets for each of the objectives, and then you come up with action plans. In addition to this, if you're doing a strategy, then you will be talking about timelines, you'll be talking about budgets and money that you need to spend so that you can achieve each of those objectives. Okay? So coming down from those questions, this is where you will land. You'll come up with a document that has identified under each perspective a number of objectives, the measures for those objectives, the targets for those objectives, and the action plans, the things that you will do so that you can achieve those objectives, which here we call initiatives. So why is it called balanced? Why is it called balanced? One, because it balances financial and non-financial measures. Remember I said earlier, we used to focus more on financial, but in this particular case, someone thought there are other things we are leaving out, like customer, internal processes, and the people and growth that are also important. So it tries to balance financial and non-financial measures. Two, it balances short-term and long-term measures. I gave you the example of building a cancer center, that you have the long-term goal of realizing that center. But in between here, you can say year 1, I'll build the structure. Year 2, I'll buy the equipment. And year 3, I will recruit. Now, those are short-term goals which are used to achieve long-term goals, balancing short and long-term measures. The next one is actually the most important, balancing performance drivers with outcome measures. Performance drivers are referred to as leading indicators, while outcome measures are referred to as lagging indicators. In a short while, I will explain in more detail. Therefore, when you do this, what you try to do is not to have everything. In many places where I've seen this, people tend to go for very many things. Remember, we said a small number of measures. So it should just contain enough data to give a complete picture of how the organization is performing or is going to perform, and no more. As you do that, you are balancing financial and non-financial, long-term and short-term measures, and then you are balancing performance drivers, which you call leading indicators, with lagging indicators, which are more of outcome measures. So now, briefly, let me go into performance indicators so that we see the difference. So lagging indicators, number 1. These are results we can measure after they have occurred. For example, profit made. We measure after we have already realized it. Generally, they represent past performance, okay? We measure after the event has happened. These are things like market share, customer satisfaction, profit or revenue. All those are lagging indicators. Now, they are very easy to do. They are very easy to come up with, very easy to develop, but they lack one thing that is very important for us. They lack predictive power. So if you make a profit of 50 million today, it cannot help you say next year we are going to make this profit. They don't have that power. They do not tell us what will happen in future. And that is one of the biggest challenges that organizations face today. That you will report a certain profit this year, and it's not automatic that next year you will report a better one or something similar. So this is the challenge that many people use lagging indicators in their reporting, in their measuring, but those indicators are not good enough. Hence the need for leading indicators. And so when we are doing performance planning, we need to focus more on leading indicators. Results you can measure in real time as they happen. Now that is not very easy. These are performance drivers of future value. Why? Because if you identify these measures and you focus on them, what you do today, the effect of what you do today will be seen tomorrow and next year and so on. And that in a way can help you predict how you are going to improve next year. Now, market analysts at the Nairobi Stock Exchange, after you have presented your financial results and you have given your numbers and you say we have a profit of this much this year, they will tell you, we want to read your report deeper and we want to see the fundamentals. And basically what they are looking for are leading indicators. What else have you been doing that assures you of future success? Now we know about M-Pesa. It started as a simple money transfer. But what Safaricom has been doing is to innovate continuously. And the market analyst is trying to see, is Safaricom continuing to innovate? And if so, then they are assured of future success. Those are leading indicators. They lead to the achievement of lagging indicators and involve measurement of processes and activities. So a very good example is like where I work is turnaround time. How long does it take for us to attend to a patient? How long does it take for us to respond to a query by a patient? That turnaround time, if we can master it and do it the quickest way possible, then we will end up with very happy customers, clients, and they will come back for a service in our facility. So this turnaround time or response time, if we are talking about our query, represents a leading indicator of customer satisfaction. So if we master this turnaround time, then our customers will be more happy. The customer satisfaction is a lagging indicator, but the turnaround time is a leading indicator. And if we keep on improving on it, then we are assured of future success, leading indicators. So what is my summary for you? That if you are going to work with a balance scorecard, then you need to identify some leading indicators so that you have a balance of leading and lagging indicators. Why? If you don't have leading indicators, then you have no room for improvement. And you cannot tell someone that I know next year will perform better because you have nothing to use to indicate to them that next year we are going to perform better. If you are improving your processes, then you are improving your leading indicators. And that is how you assure yourself of better performance next year and not and better than say this year, and so on and so forth. So in many places where I've seen the balance scorecard, most of the indicators are lagging indicators. And that in itself is a failure on the part of the management of that organization. What they are supposed to focus on a little more is the leading indicators, because it affords them continual improvement. And that continual improvement then means that they can assure themselves of better performance next year and so on. So this is what makes the balance scorecard very powerful for organizations. Finally, as I close, so ideally, the balance scorecard, you can see on the left, you have financial, customer, internal perspective, and learning and growth. At each level, as you are planning, you focus on these different aspects. For learning and growth, it is capabilities, technologies, and climate for action. So your measures, your objectives will be under those three areas. If you move to internal processes, it will depend on at what stage of maturity your business is. If you are just starting off, like my company now, then we will focus more on building the franchise. For example, coming up with policies and procedures, which then help us to do things in a particular way and better. But if you have been around for some time, you may focus on increasing customer value. So what are your customer management processes? Things like CRM, customer relationship management, and so on and so on. If you have mastered your game, then you start asking yourself, can we achieve operational excellence? And so now you now move your processes from just basic operations to fine-tuning those operations so that you are operating the most efficient way possible. And lastly, I said, under the customer, we had something about how your customers will view you. So you will need some processes that are addressing how you are viewed in the community. This is to be a good corporate citizen. Now, this issue is becoming very big and is now called ESG, environment, social, and governance. So that is addressed through the environmental processes. And then if you move to customer value perspective, what you will see then is you start looking, what are the things we need to focus on so that our customers are happy? Is it price? Is it the quality of the product? Is it the turnaround time, for example? Is it the functionality of the product or the service? And then the relationships that you have with your customers and the brand of your organization. So those are some of the things you will focus on so that you build a good customer value perspective. And lastly, in terms of financial results, either you are building the organization at internal perspective, and therefore that should ripple into building the franchise and basically growing your revenues or increasing your customer value. On the other hand, you could be now, you are established, you have grown your company, and now you are looking for productivity and efficiency. So you improve the cost structure, yeah, the pricing of your product. Or like I said, you invested in some machines and equipment and so on, and you are trying to improve your asset utilization and so on and so forth. So those are the different things you look at the different levels. And then there is a cause and effect process where we start from the bottom, and then we see how what we do at learning and growth supports internal perspective, and how internal perspective supports customer value perspective, and eventually it ripples up to financial results. I want to stop there so that people can ask me some questions. Thank you. So,
Yes,
questions?
yes, Steve. Quite a number of things have been happening on the chat, and allow me to say this. This webinar series is brought to you by Atara Solutions in partnership with Barton Housing and Stallion Construction Company. I am wondering, okay. Okay, good presentation, Mr. Olieka. Are critical success factors for an organization part and parcel of the leading indicators or other performance drivers?
Exactly. If you look at especially the internal perspective, and you look at the learning and growth, if you are looking inside, you're looking inside the organization. And therefore you will start, this is actually the blue strategy aspect of the Balance Scorecard. You start looking at internally, what are the things that will make us succeed? What are the processes that we must be good at so that we succeed? And those are actually the critical success factors. It could be in the knowledge your people have. It could be in the way you innovate. It could be in the speed with which you develop new products, like Safaricom, you know how they do it. You know how M-Pesa has evolved and so on. Those are the critical success factors. And therefore, as you are looking internally, you identify those critical success factors, and then you look at ways of working with them and improving them, making yourself better internally so that you can be successful at another level, which is the financial and customer level.
Okay, there's a question here by Dixon. There are actually two questions, and just as I read that out, allow me to recognize the presence of one Mr. Herbert Zake from Uganda, and of course all members of HR MAU who are represented here. Thank you very much for making the time to join us. So from Dixon, he's saying, kindly expound on how to build organizational alignment through advanced cascading techniques and designing of objectives and strategy map best practices.
That is a story for another day.
Okay.
Basically, when you are, by the way, this is part one of this process, understanding the Balance Scorecard. Part two is understanding how to set SMART objectives. And if you look at the SMART acronym, one of them is alignment. Is your objective relevant? And relevance here is alignment. Now, for alignment, and this is what we do, you train people in your organization. You know, in April, I was training people on how to do alignment. You ask ourselves, what is a high-level objective? It could be a financial objective. Then we ask ourselves, how are we going to support that objective? Let me take a very good example. We want to generate revenues of 50 million. Now, we come to the customer perspective, and here we have salespeople. We have salespeople. So they must sell. And these people are distributed all over the place. Now, you have to know how many salesmen do I have, and in which areas do they operate, and what is the potential? I'll give you an example of Mabati Rolling Mills. We had the highest sales in Western Kenya and Nairobi, very low sales in Mombasa, and so on and so forth. So what does that mean? You will distribute the 50 million sales into these regions, which are the salespeople in these regions. You may say Nairobi, 20 million, Western, 15 million, and then cost 5 million and other areas and so on and so forth. So the salespeople in those areas will be responsible for the 15 in Western, for 20 in Nairobi, and the 5 at the cost. So you are cascading the 50 million to your salespeople in those numbers like that. So you plan overall, what is the overall goal? 50 million, that is the corporate objective. Then you come to the department. Out of this 50 million, a certain department may take a portion of that. So let's say 30 million. Then out of that 30 million, we have individuals. So you distribute, someone does 10, another one does 5, and so on and so forth. You are cascading the overall objective of 50 million down the organization. I hope that has explained the cascading. And so for any other objective, you think the same way. How do I support the higher level objective at the department level, and then at the individual level, and so on and so forth?
All right. And he follows up that question with, how can frameworks such as logic, process flow analysis, the decision-making model, and the critical question model be used? Hey, Chahenza, we are going to bring you here to explain those things.
Yes, he needs to come and explain. But anyway, let me just put it this way. That strategic planning is about setting a direction that you want to go, and then making decisions about the things you will do so that you achieve that goal. So that is decision making. But in terms of flow, if you look at flow charting and connecting effects in the balance scorecard, you know the high level objective is to achieve a certain revenue, for example, but you ask yourself the question, what must we do at the customer value perspective? What must we do in terms of our internal processes so that we achieve that high level goal? So when you look at it that way, you can create a cause and effect diagram, which is this one we are looking at, that starts at the bottom and builds upwards until you reach that ultimate goal. So it touches on some of the things he's talked about, but I don't think we can discuss that in detail now.
Okay, and there's a question by Ellie who was saying there's a lot of confusion that comes with KPIs, RIs, KRAs. Can you do a bit of clarity on that?
Yes. So KRA is key result area, which will mainly lead you to the objective. Actually, KRA and objective are more or less the same thing. Key result area will help you to write the objective in an active form. Then we have a KPI, key performance indicator, is the measure. What is it you are going to use to measure the objective? So key performance indicator is the measure. Once you have identified the key performance indicator, then you must have a target for it. So if revenue is your key performance indicator, then you must have a target, which is a number, 50 million. That is the target for that particular KPI. But the key result area is revenue generation or revenue growth. And therefore you write an objective from that and say, grow revenues from say 40 million to 50 million. So key result area is revenue growth. Objective is grow revenues from 40 to 50 million. Now the measure is revenue, which is the KPI. Then the target is that 50 million that you have put there. I hope that has clarified those different terminologies.
I think for now it has. Martin is saying, we have seen companies trying to have operational activities in departments forced into the perspective. What's your take on this?
Now, remember the leading indicator. The leading indicator is something that you will focus on to improve your performance, and in particular, year on year. So that activity that you are being told to focus on should be an activity that is value adding. And you can see clearly how it connects to the ultimate outcomes. I gave you an example of response time. Now, let us connect the dots. That if a client came to you and asked you to do something for them, and you respond quickly and in good time, then customer satisfaction will go up. Can you see that connection? So that activity that you are doing is actually value adding. It helps serve the customer better. And when you serve the customer better, what happens? They come for repeat business, and that results in increased revenue. You can see the impact of that now at a financial level. So whatever you are engaging in, please, whatever they say you focus on, let it be something that is value adding. Not nice to do, but must do, need to do, so that we improve how we are performing.
Okay. Okay, there's somebody, Myra says, for non-financial area groups such as customer service, what are the relevant performance indicators for them other than TOT?
No, for customer satisfaction, remember, is pricing listed here. The quality of the product. Yeah, are the customers happy with the quality of the product or the service that you're providing? Yeah, how fast are you responding to the customers when they make a request and so on? So in a bank, long lines are not a good thing for them. And you've seen what banks have done. They have gone to the lowest level, which is strategic technologies. And that strategic technology is an ATM. So that for most of the things that people are wasting time going to line up in the bank hall, they just do those things on the ATM, and therefore they get the money quicker and faster. So all these things that are listed here, number 5 there is relationships. For example, organizations have invested in CRM so that once in a while, and I saw this the other day, a guy shared on Twitter that he had received a message from Safaricom saying, thank you for being a dedicated customer for us, and we are giving you 5 GB of data. And the guy was so proud, he was sharing it online. That is a customer relationship solution, a CRM solution in Safaricom that identifies that this guy has been with Safaricom for this period of time. And therefore they award that person airtime or the bundle, and the guy is very happy. So all these things listed here on the screen now are things that you need to focus on when you are thinking about customer value perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you have said, this is not something we can finish today. Daniel from Uganda says, this is the first time to hear about Balance Scorecard, and it has been an eye-opener. Technospark says, is it a must to have all the 4 perspectives in every employee BSc?
Aha. If you look at the financial perspective, it will apply to certain departments in different ways. For example, it may just be sales. And when we talk about sales, you could find that we are talking about revenue, so the numbers, sales numbers, as well as margins. You see, the margins. So those could be targets that then apply to salespeople. Let's talk about HR. We don't generate revenue, but we can at least save some costs. So under financial, our focus will be cost saving or managing costs, keeping within the payroll budget, for example, and making sure that we don't overshoot it and all that. That becomes our target under finance. And then remember, we have not gone into all the details about the balance scorecard. There's also the weights. So now for the HR person with that cost saving, you may find that the financial perspective is only 5% or 10%. Whereas for the salesperson, that's a key area for them. And therefore the revenue generation could be 20% or 30%. So it's an issue of whether you really have something that you can contribute to the financial aspect, and then how much weight you will give it for that particular contribution that you have identified. You'll find that many people, for example, in under the people, they have objectives there, but there are very few objectives under financial because that may not be relevant to them. And then customer people, you may find that customer service people will be having many measures under customer value perspective, and some under financial. And then in terms of internal processes, they may have one or two. So it varies from department to department. You can't fix that everybody must have the same number of measures under each perspective.
Okay. Can you set a negative profit before tax value as a target, while the company profit before tax target is a positive number? At the lower level, when cascaded, the target is a negative number. I don't know whether that's clear.
What I know is this. Please let us understand the financial formula. You have sales, then cost of sales. You subtract the two, you get gross margin. And then gross margin will be positive most of the time if you know what you are doing. And then now you start up subtracting these other things, earnings before tax and all that. So EBITDA, you come down. So ideally, gross profit may be positive, but net profit may be negative. Number two, at what stage of development is the organization? If you are starting off, you can actually target a negative profit, net profit, because your costs will be higher than the revenues generated actually. And because of that, you can project and see that we will make a negative profit, net profit, and so on.
Okay, and somebody is asking, is for security industry, for the security firms,
yes.
What are some examples in terms of indicators?
So security firms, the person you are guarding must be happy, isn't it, with your guarding service? So surely you must have some indicators under customer satisfaction. Secondly, you will have a security organization has a salesperson who goes around looking for new clients. So you will have something around revenue because you need to grow. You need to grow that business, your security. So you will have some targets around revenue and so on. Then how you operate internally as a security company has something to do with the internal perspective. So your processes internally as a security organization. For example, just a very good example is HR. You will have an HR, and that HR will have a recruitment process and so on and so forth. Those are internal processes under internal perspective. Number two, you have to train your security people so that they have the right capabilities to guard people, including saluting and greeting the clients when they come out and go into their homes and so on. So you will need to create capabilities within the security company for your askaris so that they do the job the right way. So that is strategic competencies and so on and so forth.
Okay, and how do you plug in people and culture initiatives and some key strategic initiatives?
Good. So climate for action, which is down there, has something to do with culture, has something to do with leadership. So when you are planning for culture, you know the things you value in the organization. So number one, those things that you value under performance management, you can make them part of performance management so that people are continuously being measured on them so that you reinforce them and then you reward them. That's number one. Number two, that culture, you want to do engagement surveys on a regular basis to check whether you are reinforcing the right things and you are achieving your goals on achieving that culture. So under climate for action, there are certain things you will do, like engagement, like performance management, that you are using to drive the creation or the embedment of the right culture in the organization.
Okay. All right. Frank, I am looking for the email on today's offer. Frank, I have not seen the email on today's offer. I don't know whether you're on the call. I have tried to send you a message and I had to do this like this because my inbox, my Nini is not Even the spam messages don't have anything in regards to the offer today. Okay, so as I wait for Frank to come in, yeah, so there's somebody who's saying, what is the minimum weight and maximum weightage that one can attach to a KPI?
Yes, we discussed that one at the objective setting stage. Now, ideally, and let me just give an example. We advise that you set like 5, 6, 7 objectives in total, and then you need then to distribute your weights onto these, say, 5 or 6. So let's say we take 5 objectives, and you want to distribute your weights out of 100 on the 5. So you could have one with 20, another one with 15, and so on and so forth. But make sure that the total comes to 100, okay? Now, what if you took 50 and put it on one objective? You're being smart. You are trying to tell your boss, I'm sure I will nail that one. And when I nail it, I'll get 50. So that now the rest of the 50 will come from the other 4. But are you sure of the future? Are you in control of everything around that objective? And that is when we start saying, be a bit careful. Do not just think you are being smart and put 50 on one. No. Number 2 is, what is the relative importance of the objectives? How important are they for achieving organizational goals, the ones you have at your level? And therefore, the issue of how much weight you should attach to an objective is tied to the importance and the value of that objective. So that should be the other consideration. Okay? So, of what value is that objective? So, report writing, of what value is it to an organization? You may find that report writing maybe is 5%. But when you talk about sales and you selling a certain amount of money, then that could be 20 or 15, depending on how many other objectives you have, and so on and so forth. But please don't make a mistake of putting 50 on one, because what could really happen is that COVID happens and things change, and now you cannot do that particular one, and you lose 50 of the marks, of the points, and you are straight heading towards PIP. So it may look good for you when you are planning, but when you fail, you will be in real trouble, because that one goal will cost you your performance for the year.
All right. I can see a lot of requests for the recording. And yes, we normally share our recordings on our YouTube channel, which is Get It Right with Atara Solutions. YouTube channel is Get It Right with Atara Solutions. And I know Kevin is about to share that with you. And right now, I am just tempted. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to get you guys the offers from Pathway Solutions. And if you're currently taking the course, please don't pick this one. Let's also have as many people get the learning offers as possible, and you get a certification. So as I wait for Frank to do that, because all this learning is for you, and you need to take advantage, allow me to just share with you this. On Thursday, we have a training. Yeah, here we go. On Thursday, we have a training for the young people. We are being part of the change that we want to see. And so this Thursday, we have a training for Form 3, Form 4, and Form 4 leavers. So if you know somebody who is in Form 3 or Form 4, or somebody who did their KCPE, or I mean, rather KCSE, when was this, in March, and they haven't really gotten, and this does not mean that for Kenyans only, by the way, it's open, because I know we have Rwanda, we have the East African community around on this call. So if you're among us and you have a child, please, let's help them discover themselves so that they can make informed decisions. So this is for you. Kevin will post the details. We are charging 2,000 shillings. Our till number is 917-4897. there's a link that you register, and then we have this on Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12. So please help us be part of the change that we want to see. And of course, there's somebody who is asking for Mr. Olieka's contact details. By the way, he's a consultant. He can still work with you and make sure that you customize your balance scorecard in your institutions so that then it is practical. Because I've seen a number of people asking for templates. And unfortunately, if you get templates, and especially on something like balance scorecard, you may not really get it right, to be honest. Am I correct, Mr. Olieka?
Yes, you see, first of all, you have to overlay the SMART thing on the balance scorecard. And secondly, then you need to understand that SMART, what it really says. So when we say specific, what does it mean when you are writing that objective? When we say measurable, what does it mean when you are writing that objective, and so on and so forth? And then what I showed you was just a snapshot of the scorecard. It's actually much bigger than that. There is the perspective, there is the objective, measure, target, initiatives, weight, timelines, and all that. So that is the full template, and you need to understand how to connect all those so that at the end of it all, you've done a good job of setting something you can measure. And when it comes to the end of the year of the review period, people are not arguing. You know exactly where you stand without having to argue with your boss and so on.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I hope we are getting it right. So we have the offer today is, by the way, last week, Pathway Solutions gave offers to 5 people, and about 37 people applied. And they have been very kind because they agreed to give 28 people. And I got a bit of a beating for it, but thank you, bless your soul, Frank, because that was really generous of you. But today he says that 5 people to choose 2 courses from the brochure, not people who have won previously. And then 5 companies to be trained via Zoom on Google or Google Meets. They select 2 training courses, time and date will be agreed. So if you're here and you have an organization and wants to be trained, Mr. Frank of Pathway Solutions will offer free trainings to you for 5 organizations. Oh God, I'm trying to get that. Yeah, so five companies will get free sessions from Pathway Solutions. And if you're interested, this is what they offer. They have quite a number of trainings, and they can deliver all of them on Zoom. But again, 5 people from this call, you can get free training from Pathway Solutions. And the training is done via LMS. LMS is Learning Management System. I repeat, LMS is Learning Management System. It is not instructor-led. You log into the system and you lead yourself into learning. Like you read by yourself, you do a test, you continue reading until you finish, you get over, is it 85%, and you get a certificate. Now, on top of that, Frank is offering 5 companies trainings for free on Zoom, depending on 2 courses, trainings that they choose on their brochure. So if you're here, first as an individual or as an organization, send an email and be very, very specific. And you send an email to myself, which is Grace@Tatara Solutions Services. And Frank is Pathway Solution, not Solutions. The email is frank@pathwaysolutionservices.co.uk. I repeat, frank@pathwaysolutionservices.co.uk. So please make sure, I saw a number of you with bounced emails when they wrote to Solutions last week. Please remember, it's pathwaysolutionservices.co.uk. If you write an email to me without copying Frank, definitely this does not go, because if you follow instructions, then the 5 trainings will go to you. And this is because we have to do fast come, fast served. And as well, just make sure that we are aligned so that I don't offer and also Frank is responding. So yes, Kevin has put the link there. So I know this topic we cannot finish. Okay, so for those of you who are asking about Steve's contact details, I have put his number and email address on the chat. Mumia Sugar is a classic organization that is a study in failure of performance management notwithstanding. Why didn't you succeed with the balance scorecard? Dr. George, umekuja kuchoma.
No, it's okay. It's okay. He needs to understand why businesses succeed or fail.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I have shared Steve's email. His number is 0722-332967. He actually can walk the journey of Balance Scorecard with you and your organization, because truth be told, this one is first aid. We have not even jumped into anything. We literally have just put a bandage and are sending you to the hospital to just sort out the rest of the matter, because it goes deeper than this. But I hope that we have given you value. And as somebody had asked, which I thought was important, Purity, who said, where does internal customers come in?
Yeah. Remember the question I asked. How will our customers, staff, and the community view us? So when you are talking about your employees, you will address the issues of your employees at the people perspective, and you will also address them at the customer perspective. And at the customer perspective, you do an engagement survey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I am trying to open something else. Gosh. Today. I don't know why my internet today is just misbehaving and making me look very disorganized. But just 1 minute. So this is the certificate that you get from the trainings with Pathway Solution, and you can print it out and attach to your job applications or whatever it is that you need to use them for, or you can give to your HR as part of the last one that Olieka said, learning and growth, as part of what you have done. So this answers to your balance scorecard, pale learning and growth. And yeah, so this is what you get. I hope Brian Musisi, you're doing your assignment. I want to see your certificate, Brian from Uganda. And I saw a comment from Aaron from Rwanda. Thank you so much for making it here. And just allow me to read that, because it was quite an interesting comment as we ask Olieka to give his, what do we call it? His closing remarks.
Yeah, William Nyairo asked if it is the same Stephen who did emotional intelligence, and I'm saying yes. That is one of my other areas.
Yeah, so Aaron is saying, when it comes to managing performance, some companies prefer to use rewards for good performance, with poor performers not getting any rewards. Other companies use harsh measures, including reprimands, to manage poor performance. What is your take on these two competing models?
The most common is the one of rewards. And those who don't do very well either get less or no reward. And of course, the far end of that is the PIP and so on. And then of course, there is the one of harsh reprimand, which in itself is more of a leadership style than a performance management practice, which is, we are saying you are autocratic and you are harsh with the people. And so that kind of leadership style has been known to actually do the opposite of what you're trying to achieve, and therefore is not encouraged. There's a book called, there's a book written by Goldman, who is the guy who proposed the emotional intelligence, whatever. And he says there are 6 styles: autocratic, authoritative, best setting, coaching, affiliative, and so on. But if you go and look at autocratic and its impact on the climate that you are creating in the organization, then what you will see is that it's not highly encouraged. It's a retrogressive. It may get you the results in the short term, but in the long term, it will do more harm than good for the organization. So the harsh reprimand is a leadership style or practice, not a performance management practice. What is more in performance management is reward or no reward, or just have no policy whatsoever. So there are organizations where people just work and they know they are working for a salary, but not that they will get something additional if they perform well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have seen a number of people saying that the email to Frank is bouncing. Let me see what you have been writing. And okay, I don't know why it's bouncing. I have copied straight from my email right now. You can try. No, not that one, but I've copied. Please use what I have shared. The last one. Please use that. Mr. Olieka's contacts.
Yairo, just scroll up. Just scroll up.
It is there. So yes, quite a number of people were able to finish the courses by pathway. So congratulations. I've seen a number of certificates. If you email me, I'll be able to share with you the brochure. So that you can choose. Just send an email because time is not really on our side. Your parting shot, Mr. Olieka.
Now, what I'd like to say is that this was just trying to start peeling the onion that is the Balance Scorecard. What is important is how then you connect this with what we do on a daily basis in terms of setting objectives and so on. So you value out of this if now you go a step further and try to understand then how do I use the Balance Scorecard to set good, smart objectives. And that means you overlay the SMART acronym on the Balance Scorecard. And that is a story for another day. But hopefully today I've been able to just tell people why the Balance Scorecard is important, the way it is designed and why it is designed the way it is designed. Remember, balancing financial versus non-financial, balancing leading versus lagging indicators, long-term versus short-term. So it's a tool you can use for long-term planning as well as short-term planning. And that is how it ended up now in performance management. Because if you look at performance management, we do the yearly thing, which is more of the short-term planning and so on. But hopefully, I've helped you to understand in a very simple way what the Balance Scorecard stands for. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mr. Olieka. And I have a lot of questions on whether you're sharing the notes. Grace,
we can discuss that.
Yeah, that we can discuss. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Stephen Oganga says, we are currently implementing BSC and this articulation has added impacting value on our understanding. Much appreciated. So thank you so much. Please, my people, if you want to keep up on what's happening with Atara Solutions, please join our WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp group, please. I know Jacinta had shared the link. Jacinta, if you can share it again now. We have a WhatsApp group where you can actually get information on what's coming next. We meet every Tuesday. By the way, I can tell you this, already the trainings have been taken. We have more than 15 emails sent. So if you haven't sent, don't send because you will actually miss out. Yes, we have him for another session to finalize. We will discuss that, but for now, please get in touch with him and he'll be able to give you one-to-one consultation and you can discuss and see what's next. All right, it's the HR month, and this month we are focusing on the HR professionals. So keep it locked, especially if you're in the profession or you have interest or you're running a business, because HR is an integral part of the business. So keep it HR. We are discussing HR matters this month. Of course, we will give it a twist at some point, but I'm really, really excited. At some point, we are going to host a friend of mine who works in Brussels, who has built his career from ground up. I remember he had to go and change his outlook. He bought suits, and I'm sure he'll come and tell us those stories. And he's now playing in the global arena. He's not, so Thank you so much for your patience. And this month, let's keep it here. Next week, again, we have a wonderful speaker to discuss a few issues on HR. So thank you so much for your time. And of course, allow us to give a shout out to our partners on Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. Please send us your children on Thursday. Register. Let's be the change we want to see. Let us help them know themselves. Let's help them make informed career choices. So if you have a child in Form 3 or Form 4, or has just finished Form 4, please send them our way on Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, and it is only going for 2,000 shillings. So please, we are counting on you, because we need to make sure that the next generation that's coming to our workplaces wants to be in the workplaces in the first place. All right. So special thanks to our partners, Balcon Housing. Balcon Housing is a real estate and property management firm. Stallion Construction, of course, in construction. Pathway Solution Services, you guys will enjoy the trainings. Institute of Pension Management for the HRs here, and you're looking to do your CHRP. Their current intake is ongoing, and they are offering the old curriculum and the new curriculum. So rush. Hurry before they close their intake. And then we have College of Career Guidance and Development. They offer a diploma in career guidance and development, and we have partnered to support you in choosing careers, and especially your children. And then we have Fina Gardens Resort. Fina Gardens Resort is located in Naivasha along Moi South Lake. If you're looking to take a holiday, or you're there for training, or you're there for whatever it is that you may take you to Naivasha, or you just want to take a breather and go there, they have an offer for you. If you go in and you say you are a follower of Get It Right with the Tara Solutions, 10% discount PAP, like literally 10% discount. And if you forget to say Tara Solutions, just say Grace Nzula, and you'll be home. And then in August, if you go there for 2 nights, they'll give you an extra night for free if you take a holiday in August. Are we clear? I hope so. And I hope you're going to take advantage of these offers. For more details, of course, you can get in touch with me. And then we have Wicklin. Wicklin is a carpet cleaning company. They clean your carpet. They have a machine that cleans carpet within 6 minutes. And you know it's cold. So they'll pick up your carpet today and they bring it tomorrow. Delivery and pickup is free around Nairobi. And they come back smelling so fresh. Oh my God. And then we have Kapula Mintito. We have the Career Management Center, and we have Ames College of Business and Technology. So we really appreciate you, our audience. Thank you so much for being here. We cannot do this without you. My people on HR Management Hub. I saw Nelson, who did not go to class, so that he's here. So asante sana, Nelson. My people from East Africa, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, asanteni sana for being here. And yeah, so you guys are totally welcome. And we do this every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So Frank is saying for all those who have finished their courses, certificates are on the way. Yeah, so join our Facebook page at Tara Solutions, or rather join our WhatsApp group. I think it has been posted there. Please join us so that you can get quick updates on what we are discussing every Tuesday. And then please go ye and implement performance management. Get in touch with Steve Olieka to come and do a one-to-one consultation for you to dig deeper. And of course, Catherine Sidandi, thank you so much. If you have an event and you don't have a sign language interpreter, you're failing us. Catherine is here and she is willing to partner with you and get this done. So I hope you guys have learned. Kevin, you can close the session finally as I look for music.
All right. Today, having learned about BSc and the correlation between KPI and KRI with BSc, that's the only thing we have to, as HR professionals, let's go out there and make a difference.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So you guys have yourselves a lovely night. See you next Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. as usual. And we will keep you updated on the exact topic that we're discussing. Oh my God. Yeah, and as always, my name is Grace Nzula. I forgot to sign out. My name is Grace Nzula, and I am your host of Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. I am otherwise known as moderator of choice.
Yes.
I am the
And then-
moderator.
Oh,
of
good
choice.
job.
Thank you.
Grace,
Yes.
there is someone who asked me, I've forgotten the name. I don't know, it's Rashid or something. He wanted to know about well done. So well done. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. They wanted to know about?
About well done, how we sign well done. Well done, we sign this way. Well done.
Oh, well done.
Or
Oh,
done, good.
oh, done.
This is done. This
Done.
is good.
Good.
And then well
Done.
done. This
Good.
is simple.
Or thank you. Yeah, this is simple.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yes,
you.
this one I remember.
Good night.
At good night is what?
Good night.
Okay, curtains. Okay, good night. Bas.
Good
Hey.
night. Yes.
Oliaka, you even get free sign language classes here.
Yes, I've gotten. I know now. Well done.
Very nice. Thank
Okay,
you.
guys, see you.
So,
Kevin,
thank you so
Kevin,
much.
I hope I finished your curiosity.
Definitely, yes.
Okay, see you.
I've learned a lot, to be honest.
Simple. See you guys.